before we start blaming individual people, I think we got to look big picture and ask, is there something wrong with the 49ers? And the answer is yes. There is something wrong with the 49ers. I mean, they scored 17 points this week. What they scored last week? 17 points. There's something wrong with the 49ers. Their defense is messed up. Their offense is messed up. Their the whole thing. And what's funny is they've acted like they proved something starting 5-0. Beating the Cowboys was such an accomplishment for them. They beat Dallas. Wow, by a lot. Then they messed around with the Browns. Started the fight before the game, 12 penalties, missed field goals. You know the story. They lose. They beat themselves against Cleveland. And then we start hearing about how focused the 49ers are. I read an article that the Niners responded to their loss in Cleveland like champions. The way they responded to their loss in Cleveland proves that they are a championship caliber team. The players themselves were talking about it. Talanoa Hufanga said that it was almost a good loss to the Browns. Kyle Juszczyk said that essentially it was a good loss because when you're so accustomed to winning all the time, like the 49ers are, that sometimes you need a loss so that you really get that wake-up call and focus in and dial in on the details. And the internal logic there is that, yeah, the Niners should have beaten the Browns and would have beaten the Browns, could have beaten the Browns, but it's better almost that they lost because that'll focus the Niners the rest of the season, and they won't have any more performances like that. Like, yeah, sure, Jake Moody should have hit that field goal at the end of the Cleveland game. The Niners should have won, but they didn't, and that's good because now they're going to take their revenge out on Minnesota. That's what's going to happen. But that didn't happen. No, there was no wake-up call. They played really sloppy. They were unprepared against Cleveland, and then they were really sloppy and unprepared against a Vikings team that didn't have Justin Jefferson. So now it's a trend. Now you've lost 2 games in a row. And now it's like their whole attitude is we're the best team in the league. We're so much better than everyone. Sometimes we beat ourselves. Sometimes we fly a little too close to the sun. Sometimes we need to humble ourselves and come back down to earth. It's a real arrogant way to think, right? Like, even when you lose, your ego is huge. Hey, like, I needed that. I can take that loss. Give me another one because I'm so good. I need to humble myself. I'm just so amazing. It's like, nah, man, you just lost to 2 kind of weak teams. And now you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. Maybe the defensive coordinator isn't that good. Maybe the quarterback isn't that good. Maybe the running back's worn down. Maybe the left tackle's past his prime. Maybe this team isn't as good as it thinks it is. I don't know. They can prove it. They have a lot of games left. But all of a sudden, you're looking at this team like, can Cincinnati beat them? I mean, if Minnesota can beat the 49ers, can Cincinnati beat them? Can Tampa Bay beat them? Can Baltimore beat them? Can Jacksonville beat them? Can Seattle beat them? If the Vikings can beat the 49ers, they never trailed in this game. I don't know. It's just like we were talking 2 weeks ago that this team might go undefeated. Now it's like, man, any game is a freaking adventure now. You can't write off any opponent against the Niners right now. If Kirk Cousins can play this well against this team, Kirk Cousins looks like Peyton Manning in this game. It's true. Let's take some super chats. There's a lot of them. Sachin says, Grant, I am sad. I can't stand losing. You didn't lose, Sachin. You did not lose. James Monk, $5. Thank you. Michael Mock, Grant rubbing his palms and licking his lips like Birdman. Whatever. I didn't lose. Mark Soto says, we have seen the story before. Grant says 2019 Niners get hot again and then fall short come January when it counts. They ain't fooling me. They just seem like they take their foot off the gas too soon every year. Saul Goodman. This year they did it in October. Saul Goodman says DC kicker and possible Purdy are all major liabilities. Imagine if JJ played tonight. It would have been a massacre. Fernando. Basic Hot Dog No Bun says definitely def today abysmal. No adjustments. Defense today abysmal. No adjustments. Blitz 4 with no pressure, no stunts to get home. DB's left on island to get smoked. Kyle, no run today, all pass. Yeah, I was talking about the stunts earlier this year, and I was like, well, maybe he's not calling them to like contain mobile quarterbacks. It's freaking Kirk Cousins, man. You can't think of you can't, there's nothing in your playbook that can generate some pressure. Wilkes is trash, says Ethan M. Ray Histo says Shanahan finally getting exposed for being arrogant and not investing in the offensive line. Banana Hands is overrated. David Trinidad says, what question can you ask Kyle that will piss him off immensely about this loss? I don't know. I'll think about it. Suzuki Pazuki says, who's in the hot seat if the Super Bowl is not won this year? Purdy, Wilkes, Moody, Grant. It's money time, says Aaron Thornhill. Wicked Curse says, why on both Purdy interceptions? Both had penalties. First one pass interference, second one illegal contact, and both weren't called. Boy, you're good. I didn't see that. Michael Brown. Brock isn't the type of guy you want when down late. No. Thought he was the next Joe Montana, though. Nathan Flores says, no way we're getting the number 1 seed playing like this. Steve Wilkes' defense is atrocious. 450 yards by the defense with no Justin Jefferson. Shake my head. No D-line pressure. Secondary is bad. Need to make a trade ASAP. I hate yogurt. Who hates yogurt? Armstead does that little stupid sack dance. Stay hungry, my friends, or whatever. Meanwhile, his sack stats have been starving, and Lynch actually paid him half a sack for the season. Boxing fan times 4 says horrible defensive calling. Also, those last couple games, Brock has looked like Jimmy G. Agree. Jonathan Garcia says, don't understand why we can't throw downfield against sideline. If Purdy going to throw a pick anyways, and refs giving out PI calls like the Oprah show. Santos Camacho III, new member. Thank you. Dark Ranger 7. Where is the fear from our D-like years past? It left with D'Amico. That's where. With these weapons on D, Wilkes should be ashamed of himself. 400-plus yards allowed his first Vikings punt in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I don't know what's up with his defense, man. Loner Incognito says, ever since Kittle pulled out his shirt, Niners been going downhill. Lost confidence in the Niners' Super Bowl chances this season. Do you believe in football karma? Do you believe in karma at all? If you do, that was bad karma. The t-shirt thing. Funny Box 5544 says, Grant, I hate watching when the Niners win, but damn, I love watching you when they lose. Thanks, man. I'm trying to keep it composed here tonight. $2 from you. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Nassim. I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. When? Tomorrow? Young Montana says has been a member for 25 months. Thank you. Kev F. Niners are the hardened Rockets of the NFL. That's kind of true. Keneal Mason, these Brock picks gave me Jimmy PTSD. Uh-oh. We need to call old bad gold. Steven Larder, defense is trash. D-Chip, $2. Dave Barclay, what the? Andrew Peñaloza. Hey, Grant, we need to trade for anyone and everyone that could help. BTW look like a ketchup bottle, but still look like a cutie patootie. Bye, Grant. Thanks. Brother Bob, Iglet, we lost to the Browns and Vikes backups. You didn't lose. I didn't lose. You didn't lose. Niners been acting like champs too much. Well, they're the champs of September. You got to give them that. Keneal Mason. Also, we lost because we didn't play Mason. Why is he not? Why don't they play Jordan Mason? It's because he told them to. Is it me or do players that get the bag don't play to their potential? Bosa, Kittle, Debo. It's not you. It's them.